I would want to point out that's the things that are difficult to search and summon, that there may not be as the same advanced features. There might not be thesaurus searching or what we call controlled vocabulary. And I would want to talk about what's included and what's excluded and how you can tell, which is very difficult. The next thing I would do, the next step, would be to introduce subject-specific databases. For example, if I was teaching a criminal justice course, I would talk about the subject-specific criminal justice databases, or if I was teaching a social work class, I would talk about the social work abstracts database, and I would go through those databases, talk about the advanced searching, like I said, in the controlled vocabulary searching, and some of the advanced features of those databases. And much like when I was teaching Summon, I would run a search in those databases while thinking out loud, revise the searches, ask for some input on what the search topic should be, things like that. But because hands-on is really still the best way for students to learn how to do these things, then I would have another hands-on practice. Much like the lesson where we compared and contrast what we found in Summon with what we found in Google, we would instead compare and contrast what we would find in Summon versus what we would find in a specific database like social work abstracts. So elder abuse, which was my example earlier, how many results are you getting? Remind them by asking, does Flight have access to that's the name of the library. Do they have access to everything found in Summon? Because in the subject-specific databases, we will not have access to everything. That's pretty much a given. You know, how easy is it to tell what is included in the social work database? And the goal would be to do as exhaustive of a search as they can with what we have access to resource-wise. Like I said, lower level students should just kind of get them good resources, but sometimes with upper level, especially capstone projects, you need to get them everything that they should be able to find. And that's particularly true, of course, in graduate school. So that hands-on practice, same thing, walking around, helping them, listening to them, and having them report out in groups, or having one person report out, or asking each group the same question to see if they're having similar experiences. The pros and cons of this lesson is, the pro is that it clears up the misconception that Summon is the only database students will ever need, and that's a great fear that I have. I think a lot of librarians have that once they've latched on to Summon, because we see this all the time, they'll latch on to a database that they know how to use, and they'll try to use it for everything, even when it's not appropriate for the subject. So this will clear up the misconception that this is the only database they ever will need. And the con that I think might be is that students are going to be resistant to switching. If they've had good luck, they like Summon, they're going to be resistant to switching. And that's fine. They can still use Summon, but they need to know that they're going to have to use both in the long run. The effective strategies for this are exactly the same as the other lesson. I'm going to activate prior knowledge by connecting the new skill, which is now these subject-specific databases, to what they already know how to do, which is searching Summon in Google. Scaffold the learning with these specific handouts and hands-on practice. Use conspicuous steps and thinking out loud to model the searching, and then once again make sure there's time to review, to give practice time, and then a cumulative review to sum up everything that we've already learned. As far as both of these lessons go, what are the possibilities that this can be transferred to other settings? Well, libraries are moving more and more to web-scale discovery services. It's our attempt to compete with Google, and I see more and more libraries going with this. So I think it has enormous applicability to other schools and settings, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if it trickled down to K-12, and there's very little out there on how to use it and what to do with it. So I think it's got great potential. Thank you for listening.